Am I the bad guy for setting boundaries with my stepson? Original post. I, 47 male, have a stepson, 16 male, who for the purposes of this post, we'll call T. I've been married to my wife, 48 female, for 2 years and have 2 daughters, 7 female and 9 female, with my ex. Since the day T moved into my house, he has been nothing but disrespectful. I understand that change, especially change this drastic. Moving, getting new siblings and a new parent, is hard for a kid, but some of the stuff he does just crosses a line. For example, I transferred him to a really great private high school when he moved in, because I wanted him to have the best opportunities. He always complains that he doesn't like his new classmates, that the school is too far away. It's 15 minutes further than his old school, which is practically nothing, and that he doesn't like the environment. He doesn't understand that. Later he will thank me for this. I would have killed for an opportunity like this at his age. Additionally, he always breaks rules we have set in place. I have asked him to surrender his phone to the living room at 9 p.m. to have some family time, but he says he wants to talk to his old friends. He constantly claims not to like the food his mother or I make, even when he hasn't tried it. His mother and I try to have a date night once or twice a week, and he always claims he is too busy to watch his stepsisters. We have asked him repeatedly for the passwords to his social media accounts, and he refuses to hand them over, etc. I'm sick of the disrespect in my own house, so I set some boundaries. Either he starts treating me with respect and listening to me, or he can find somewhere else to live. Obviously, I wouldn't really kick him out, but I'm hoping this scares some sense into him. My wife, however, said I took it too far and need to apologize, and tell him I wasn't serious. I feel like this will undermine my authority though. Am I the bad guy? Edit, I just want to clarify a few things because they seem to be causing confusion in the comments. He did not change schools when he was 16. We had him change when he was 14, when he moved into my house, so about halfway through his first year of high school. Also, he did know about the change. We talked to him about it beforehand. He wasn't excited, but he did know that he would be changing schools. Update number 1. Update, thank you for everyone who has taken the time to comment, and, thank you further, to the people who have offered helpful advice. I didn't come here to be vindicated, I came to find out if I was doing everything I could for my stepson, and clearly I am not. I am going to try to fix what I have done wrong. I'll offer him the option to switch back schools, although I understand that it might be too late, and I will drastically ease up on the restrictions that we have set in place. Furthermore, I am going to sit down and apologize. I want him to know he is cared for, and that I was wrong. Forgive me for any mistakes. I'm a long-time lurker, who made an account specifically to ask about this issue. And now for the top comments. You are the bad guy. So, you ripped this kid out of his school and away from his friends, and you're pissed that he isn't kissing your ass in gratitude. Then you change up all of the rules he's ever known, and are pissed that he's resistant to the change. You expect him to give up his social life to watch your kids so you can go out, and you don't understand why this would upset him. You can't be serious. You are the bad guy. You pay for him to go to a school you like, you took him from his friends, you take away his phone at 9 p.m. for family time. I wouldn't want to spend time with a dictator like you. You demand passwords for crap you don't have any right to, you want babysitter for your other kids, then go pay someone bad guy. You don't deserve respect. You don't give him any, why should you get any? You're the bad guy. 9 p.m. is absurdly early for a 16-year-old, especially since you deprived him of his friends, by changing his school. That's my cutoff for my much younger children, who see their friends all day. If you can afford private school, which he didn't ask for or want. You can afford a babysitter. He didn't ask to be a parent to your kids. You're being incredibly disrespectful, so I'm not surprised you're getting it right back. I'm sure his social media is full of ranting about you. Mine would be too. And now for the second update. A little bit more than a year ago, I asked for advice on how to deal with my stepson. I was ripped to shreds in the comments, and deservedly so. For those who haven't read the post, I didn't feel like my stepson was respecting my authority after I imposed overly strict rules upon him. I've had a few people ask for an update, but first, I wanted to clear up one thing. Many people assumed that I took an underprivileged kid and put him in a school full of rich kids. That couldn't be further from the truth. Before we married, he and his mother were very well off. We both have really well-paying jobs. The only reason he was in a public school was because the schools in our area are really great. The only reason he was switched to the private school is because it is a STEM school and I thought that would be beneficial to him. Now on to the update. After reading the comments telling me how horrible of a stepfather I was, I felt sick. This may seem unbelievable, but I was genuinely trying to do right by him, and I was beside myself realizing that I did more harm than good. My stepson never knew his father, and I jumped at the chance to have that special father-son bond with him. I eased up on many of the restrictions I placed. He no longer has to surrender his phone, and while we still do have family time, it's about once a week instead of every night. He no longer has a bedtime, and while his mom follows him on his socials, I do not. I no longer demand his passwords to anything. The only time I have asked him to do is to babysit, in the case of an emergency. But surprisingly, now that I've stopped, he's been offering to babysit every once in a while. As for the school issue, he is still at the school we switched him to. We had many long talks about this very issue, and he ultimately decided to finish out his high school career at the school because, while he missed his friends, he was able to recognize that this new school offered him the best opportunity to get into the college he really wants to attend. Since all of this, the relationship between my stepson and myself has drastically improved. For his 17th birthday, we offered to get him a car, and he and I had a really nice time picking out the right one. I've taken him to a few basketball games, which he loves, and I've enjoyed learning about the sport from him. He actually got a girlfriend and came to me for advice about dating, which is not something that would have happened before. I will say this, I am blessed with an incredibly smart, kind and compassionate stepson. Other kids may not have been so forgiving, and rightfully so. I urge other step-parents out there to really listen to their stepchildren, instead of automatically trying to take over. You may not be as lucky as I was. And now for the top comments. What? Am I the bad guy did good? A bad guy turned over a new leaf? Will wonders never cease? Sorry for the snark OP, congratulations on all the progress. It's really nice to hear a good outcome. Good on your stepson for being big enough to forgive, and good on you for making the changes. How refreshing that someone took advice, rather than be defensive and ignore the chance for change. Sounds like you've grown, and your stepson has benefited massively. Well done. Well done, sir. You are a wonderful person. It is never easy to accept harsh advice. Internet comments can be extremely brutal. He is lucky to have you as a father. It is understandable that you struggled before. Your daughters were too young for you to have the experience of dealing with a struggling teenager. And now for the next story. Am I the bad guy for telling my stepdaughter she has to move out of my apartment, for my sister and her family? I'll try and keep this short. Me, 49, and my wife, 45, have been married for 5 years. I have a stepdaughter H, 22. H used to live in student housing but is currently taking a year off school and therefore isn't eligible anymore. Her school, workplace, etc. are a few hours' drive from here. I own an apartment around that area, so we're letting H stay there. I don't charge her any rent. My sister, 40, lost her job last year and works at a new place, which pays much lower. She lives with her boyfriend and my 14-year-old niece, and they're struggling with the rent. They like extravagance, so this is hard on their entire family. I want to offer the apartment to my sister's family, since they're 3 people who actually need it. They're on board with this, and we've talked to H that obviously it won't be immediately, and we'll give her some time to find another place so my sister can stay there. H got upset and said if she really has to move, it's going to be hard. I offered to help her find somewhere but said that this is our decision. My wife isn't happy with this and said I'm being unfair to H. Edit, the extravagance comment doesn't mean they're not living within their means, obviously they've cut down now. Just wanted to clarify because telling me to just tell my sister to no be extravagant isn't really helpful when it's already been done. And I'm sorry, but everyone is saying I'm favoring 2 adults over my young stepdaughter, but my niece is 14. She's a minor. And now for the top comments. You are the bad guy. You can't just throw your stepdaughter out, who'll struggle with finding an apartment and paying rent probably even more. Also, you said your sister and her family like extravagance, and therefore it's difficult for them. So perhaps give up the extravagance? I'd suggest that you find a compromise with your wife and don't throw your stepdaughter out into the blue. You are the bad guy. So, because your sister can't give up her selfish lifestyle, your stepdaughter has to suffer? I hope you don't like being married. So, your sister lives extravagantly and you kick your stepdaughter to the curb. Who cares that a young adult has to struggle because your sister, who isn't financially responsible, is more important? I'm with your wife. You're the bad guy. Thanks for visiting our channel and following these stories with us. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and make a comment down below. We'd love to hear your take on these topics. See you soon.